We back with X, I'm D, Chad, half Gator, half Cane.
Wow. You did me like that.
See, what happened with Quincy in the recruitment? When he
I mean, it was all good except University of Miami. Listen, 50 offers, I want to say. Just not one from University of Miami.
Did they eventually offer him?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. It was...
When Quincy was... That's Al Golden was the coach?
Al Golden was the coach.
Apparently.
Al Golden was the coach. Man, and you know what? Quincy was old enough to have gone to the games with me.
Yeah.
I would take him with me. He was there that whole 2001 season. Right. I think I took him to every game that year. Sitting him on my shoulders on the sideline. So he saw that. All he wanted to be was a Cane.
Whoa. Say it again.
All he wanted to be was a Cane, man. He wore 26 because of Sean Taylor and then Ray.
Right.
So he was all about that.
Right, let's go, man. We back. Caneville. I'm D. That's X. We got the famous Chad Wilson in the house, man. Famous Chad Wilson, DB trainer, former University of Miami. We're gonna get into it with Chad. So listen, check me out, Chad. Take us back. Where were you born?
New York City.
New York City?
Yeah, New York, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Brooklyn in the house.
You grew up in New York?
Till I was 10, then we moved down here. Parents, my mom came down on a vacation and said, I ain't never going back.
Yeah.
That's really how it went.
You remember the snow and all that?
Oh yeah, of course. Walking backwards because it was too cold, snow in the face, riding the subway, all that good stuff.
Okay, so talk to all those people down here. What's the benefit of being in the snow?
What's the benefit of being in the snow?
Yeah, because you training kids, you doing whatever you want to do down here at any point in time. What's the benefit of being up in New York in the snow, living in both worlds? Tell me, is there a benefit?
If you're a kid, the snow can be fun.
Right.
Unless you gotta, go to school and that, then nothing's fun about it. A certain amount of toughness, I guess you get growing up in New York City, being in that cold, having to make your way through the streets in that kind of weather.
Never thought of it.
It's just a certain inherent toughness.
Right.
That's built up in you.
I never thought about that. So then you move down here and you eventually become good at football in high school?
Football wasn't really my first sport. When I was in New York, we played in the street.
Okay.
And I didn't think much about it, but I always impressed the older kids on the block with the ball in my hand. So
right.
I had those kind of skills, but soccer was the first thing I picked up. So in between those first 10 years I spent in New York, 2.5 years I spent in Trinidad. And so I went down to Trinidad when I was 2 years old, came back when I was 5. So soccer was a sport.
Right.
So that's really the first sport that I picked up. So, you get good feet playing soccer, so on and so forth. So that was the first one.
Do you attribute anything in your football to the soccer?
Oh, absolutely.
Because we don't talk about that enough at all. I've seen kids that play soccer, play football, and you can see it.
Yeah, footwork.
Right.
Footwork. Having to dribble a ball with your feet around a person that's coming at you, and at the end kicking into a goal. You're doing that over and over. You're bound to have really, really good feet. When I was coaching youth football, I would get a lot of mileage out of kids that came from soccer.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd be pretty good players for me.
Yeah, right. I've seen that. Gwen Cherry had a running back one time that was really. You could see it even at 10. His feet, him in the hole, the things he could do with his feet. So you started at Pasadena.
I did.
You played your whole youth football here in Pasadena?
Yeah, man. Back in the day, you didn't go park hopping. You played at Pasadena, you was at Pasadena. If you tried to show up at someone else's park, but you were known at Pasadena, well, going back over to Pasadena, there wasn't no park hopping,
Right.
They got better helmets over there. We're gonna win a championship.
Oh no, it's free agency now.
Nah, bro. I trained some of these kids and I asked them like, where'd you play youth football at? It's like a 30-minute answer. First I was at Sunnyland. Then we moved over to Gwen Cherry. I'm like, all right, bro. But,
yeah, it's free agency now.
Yeah, so I was Pasadena through and through.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Do you think that have anything to do with, because we were very loyal, I ain't gonna say the word. Maybe the word is loyal. Maybe the word is just we did what people told us to do.
Yeah.
Right, and we didn't explore options. These kids today and their parents, I mean, everything's an option.
I mean, it was a lot of what had a lot to do with the neighborhood. Because the neighborhood, if we stayed in the neighborhood, we was all going to play for Opalaka.
Yeah. Right, we're like together, right?
Yeah, we together. We gonna walk home together, so parents felt a lot more safer saying, well, all of them walking home together, so they good. Mm-hmm. Now you got a parent that lives on 79th, but want a son to come play for PPO.
It don't even matter where he live at no more.
I don't see it. Like, yeah,
no, he makes a good point though, because you can get really dropped off to practice. I rode my bike to practice, or my cousin would ride me on the handlebars because he played too.
Right.
And everybody got to practice that kind of way. Or your parents really just dropped you off and they went on about their business.
Right.
There weren't really any parents at practice. There was like one parent that I would remember at practice.
You ain't never lied.
It was Ryan Collins' dad. I grew up with Ryan Collins.
Oh,
Ryan
really?
Collins was our quarterback. So. Other than that, there weren't any parents.
You never lied. It wasn't. Now it's like grown folks' night at the practice field.
Man, it was shocking to me because I went and took my two boys there to go play football. And that first day of practice, I get out the car, I see all those chairs lined up. I was like,
it's like
it was a shock to me.
Hey, but that's funny you bring that up. There was no parents at practice. No, it was
they weren't allowed. Like the coaches were like, man. Look, on these 2 hours, they meet.
They mine.
Y'all go. I don't care nothing about you. They fussing and hitting.
You can't dare tell a single mom no crip like that no more.
Not now.
No, and the things that were said and done.
You
had parents there for that. But it was a safer world then too.
Yeah.
You could just leave your kids and go off somewhere. It's not that kind of world anymore. So.
All right, so back to you. So you started playing football. Were you good right off the bat?
No, I wouldn't say I was okay. I had my quick feet. I always had speed, but just learning the intricacies of the game took a little time. Mm-hmm. And I was coming into the game late. By the time I got there, you had guys that had been playing 5 years already.
Right.
So, and then the whole hitting aspect. Yeah. Roger Harriet's older brother. He has a couple older brothers. Mm-hmm. So the middle brother was on the team. And he was built about this low to the ground. He was all helmet. I swear, every hitting drill, I don't care how much counting you did, I ended up with him. Fam, I knew I hated math after that. I'm like, okay. Somehow I got to the front of the line. There he is, all calves, built like a truck, come through there, and it was always a helmet-to-helmet collision. So I had to learn that part of it. So there was a certain amount of toughness I needed to get. So that first year I was just, a speedy kid, and you just try to figure out how to use me,
right?
On a sweep or something like that, or go play a little defense, or try to throw me a pass. Because the year after that, and from then on, then I became a football player. Right. I embraced the whole hitting physical aspect of it, getting them stick marks on your helmet. And that's when I just started to become a football player.
So where you in high school at?
Cooper City. Believe it or not, but that wasn't no long time.
Y'all play football in Cooper City?
Man, they tried. They tried.
What?
This is what did it for me. Now, I'd always go summer times out to see my father. So, my sophomore year, I went out for football at Cooper City, and we're running 40s. Now, look, we had some athletes around us, especially in this Pembroke Pines area. And so we had a day where we just ran 40-yard dashes, and then the next day we used to sit on the stands and the coach would talk, give us little notes for the day. So he was talking about the 40-yard dashes. And he's reading off these times, and he goes, and the fastest time of the day, Chad Wilson, 4.56. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, y'all blown away by that. I'm on the wrong football team. I don't need to be the fastest dude on this team with a 4.05 in 10th grade. So I'm like, man, we just not really very good.
Right.
There was a guy that I grew up with, a white kid named Jeff Wheelis, that he was speedy as hell. And I was always trying to catch him. And I'm like, man, I'm the fastest dude on this thing. Nah, this ain't where it's at. And I was trying to go to St. Thomas. Anyway, I was going to try to go to Miami Lakes, HML with
Who was out there? Ryan?
Ryan went over there.
They were good, right?
Yeah, I knew I wasn't going to be playing football there past 10th grade. Let me get my introduction to football and then move on. But it just turns out that I went out to California on my usual summer. My dad had just moved out into a new area. It was great, new house, new school. And I just asked to live out there with my pops and moved.
And you left your mom?
Left mom, it was tough, man, but you know what? As things turn out, it was really the right thing at the right time. You know, at a certain point, you need to be around your father. So that was the right time for me. I started getting in trouble down here, doing stupid stuff.
Right.
So just stayed out there with Dad. And
So she was ready for you to...
my mom was not ready.
No?
No, my dad's sister had to really talk to her because it was just been her and I, you know, through all that time.
I know,
So
I'm all
it was a
up.
difficult, you know, at a certain point she realized what I just told you. It's time to be around your dad. So I ended up moving out there with him, and the rest was history. It was a really, one of the things you think back in life that it was a really great decision.
That changed your life, you think?
Yeah, I was headed to nowhere. You probably wouldn't know me, you know, if I'd have stayed down here.
Really?
Yeah, wrong crowd, wrong everything. Yeah.
Wow.
Wrong crowd, wrong football team, wrong everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And you got over there with Dad. Dad, what part of Cali?
A place called Moreno Valley, which is out in like Riverside County. It's
Mm-hmm.
maybe an hour without traffic, which there's never no traffic, but an hour outside of Los Angeles.
Right.
He had lived in Los Angeles all that time, and then when he moved out to Riverside, then, you know.
X, how much you weighed coming out of high school?
I graduated, I was like maybe 165. Yeah.
165?
Yeah.
You was a basketball player.
Yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, the weight room was not my thing. They're like, well, y'all go in the weight room. My coach, man, I gotta go to the training room. I'm like, you know? And that football too, man. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in the training room while y'all go. I do everything besides that weight room. And, I mean, I obviously got it going there. But I'm like, I'm not.
You doing that?
Nah, man.
It wasn't a crime to be that size back then.
Right.
You coming out at 160 now, boy. You trying to get a D3 off. You know, so.
Right. So let's get into how'd you end up at UM, and then this story. We got another 30 minutes.
Yeah,
You didn't just
in
go
a
to
very
UM.
roundabout way. It wasn't a direct.
Right. So you get recruited, right? Tell us your recruiting story, man.
I did get recruited in high school. Not obviously not the way that I wanted, but when you don't have any fanfare going into your senior year, it's difficult, you know.
Right.
So they kind of know.
Say that again, because you balled out your senior year.
I did.
But what parents don't understand is a lot of that stuff happens. The recruiting part happens
Yes.
sophomore,
Yeah,
junior.
yeah.
Right. And they think that, hey, he scored a touchdown. People looking. No, these people got a system.
Oh, no doubt.
Right.
And back then it was slower than what it is now. They trying to identify kids as freshmen and sophomores, but
Right.
I didn't, like I said, have any fanfare going in. I wasn't in anyone's Super Prep magazine, which was the
Right.
thing that back then there was, you know, obviously no internet. There was just that book, that Super Prep
Yeah,
book.
Super Prep, the top 50 in the nation.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm thumbing through there. I'm nowhere in this book. You know? And then they would have like the Street and Smith's annual that they would
I
hand
remember
out every
Street
year. And
Smith.
in the back, they had like the
Yeah.
top 100 kids. You know, obviously I'm not in that book. You know, I didn't do anything really my junior year. So my senior year, I'm going nuts. And these dudes is getting letters.
Right.
Like, where are my letters at? Letters is like these offers that they get now.
Right.
These offers that they get now.
Right.
I try to. I've even explained that in some of the recruiting stuff that I've done. An offer now is like the letters we got back then. They're just interested in you. You know what I mean? It's not like you can come to our school right now.
It is.
So for some guys it's that. For most of the guys it's not that.
It's turned into marketing for the colleges. It seems like.
Well, it
they
is.
offer a kid.
He tweets it out. Yeah, of course.
It's almost like a backwards. Like, oh, they helping the college, and the college ain't really.
Yeah, not to
What's
go
your
off
name? They
on
don't
not to go
like
off on a
you.
tangent. Yeah, I was on Twitter on the early part of Twitter. It was one of the social media apps that I got on early. So when I was over at university school, I would definitely go out and tweet when a kid got an offer, and it was like I didn't really see anyone else doing that. I don't know what made me do it.
Right.
But I would just tweet that this so and so got an offer, and it would get
Right,
and
right.
it, you know when you're on social media, if something's getting attention, you just keep doing it.
Right.
So I would just start doing it. I don't even do it anymore now because everyone does it. But
Right.
but yeah, I had no fanfare going into my senior year. I eventually started getting some attention from local schools, and then the biggest school that came after me was, well, first of all, Northwestern was recruiting me. Now they weren't very good in football, but I was into journalism, so I was like, yo, that'd be a great school for me. But when they got to examining my transcripts, my 9th and 10th grade down here killed me.
Screwed you. I was just about to ask you that. You had a grade from Northwestern?
Yeah, no, they liked me on the field, but when they took a look at my whole transcripts, I couldn't overcome 9th and 10th grade. Now, when I went there, when I went out to California, I was a 3-point-something student every year. I was more focused And you know, my father would have hung me out by my ankles, but.
All right, so listen up. Shout out to the member of the week before we get up out of here. Go to a break. Ronald Bennett, member of the week. We appreciate you, man. We appreciate all the members who support what we got going on. We'll be right back. Hit the like button and share it for us, man. Share it to your text group with all the bad cane information inside. Put the video in there, man. We back with X, I'm D, Chad, half Gator, half Cane.
Wow. You did me like that.
Listen. When you were going to the games, right? Mm-hmm. You was going to the Gator games. You had on all Gator stuff and everything, right?
I support my kids.
Right. Earl said he wasn't going to wear his Gator stuff.
Man,
Earl lying.
I'm going in there with my game stuff, but I'm going to support my kids.
Earl lying. Earl feel like that now, right?
Listen, you're not really, if I can throw any advice for them, you're not really supporting your kid if you show up with your school stuff.
Right.
You know, I understand, okay, if the Gators are playing the Canes, et cetera,
yeah, I got a little
okay, fine. But if you're showing up there trying to support your kid, you're amongst the administration there, the coaching staff that's there, the team that's there, the fans that's there, and you're showing up in your Cane stuff, you're not truly, really fully supporting your kid. Everybody knows you played for the Canes.
You'll figure it out.
Yeah, they know.
No, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I be seeing it on Twitter. I be like, well, they really going at Chad, man, by his son. Like, dang, I don't even know how I would be as a father. 'Cause I know how I am as an individual myself.
I'm gonna create a course called F the Fans. This is gonna be for all college players. They take the course.
I can write a few chapters. I've been through it twice, man. The
Right.
Canes fans on Quincy when he, started dissing Miami after a while.
Yeah.
And then this whole thing with Marco was next level, man. They went after me. They tried to get to my wife's Instagram. She private. She had 1 million requests. They went after his girlfriend.
And this was Florida fans.
Florida fans went after his girlfriend. He had a friend that mentioned Marco in his story before the game.
Yeah.
They went at him. they cussed him out, and he ain't got nothing to do with nothing. So I didn't throw the shoe, but I was out there boxing with
The
fans.
same fans that praised him for the last 2 years.
The same fans. So Marco was kind of like, "Hey, listen," and he'd even said it before that even happened. He's like, "I'm cool. I don't need the hype, because the hype turns into hate after a while. They're just not gonna love you that long. So when you get freshman hype, which he did, he had a great freshman year. After a certain while, they get tired of talking about you like that, and they want to bring you back down. So.
It's not real. It's like it's not real. It's fame. Yeah. It's
No, it's real, because my mom and I say the more realer it gets, you're gonna start seeing stuff like, wow, this really happened. They love him as a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They get tired of talking.
As long as you're doing something good, they're gonna love you.
Yeah.
But it's the incidents where you do wrong,
in that sense, it is real.
Yeah,
you're doing great. They gonna tug on you probably too hard. They gonna make you too great.
Right.
And when you do bad, they gonna pull you down too hard. You're not that bad. This was one play or a couple of plays during the season, and you suck. So
the little guy, Ole Miss, SEC, number 1 wide receiver this year was Elijah.
Yes.
Elijah Moore.
Real good with Elijah. Elijah Moore catches a pass last year, goes in the end zone, and for some reason, Elijah Moore is a God-fearing kid. He picks up his leg and he pisses like a dog. Football is a what's the word? It's an emotional
Very
sport.
emotional sport.
Right, and sometimes those penalties, bro, are like, how are we doing this now? It's like going to a strip club saying, hey, you got nothing on.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's too much.
Yeah.
Like, no, no, listen, it's an emotional sport. So he does that, right? Everybody comes down on him. It's all on ESPN. It goes viral. And I DM him. I say, listen, bro, it's gonna go away. I say, but in this moment, don't shy away from the moment. You know what I'm saying? Because all this, it can make you more famous if you embrace it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just come out and embrace it. Come out and say, hey, apologize or whatever, and then keep posting in the middle of it. You know, I told you the same thing.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Keep posting in the middle of it because it's fair weather. Nobody's gonna show up on your door with a gun. really.
No.
It's people.
You would hope
It's
not.
people just like that.
Yeah, you hope not.
Yeah, it's tough guys that they're like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I reached out to him and I told him, and he understood it. He understood what I was saying. That play with Marco, I just happened to see it one morning. Like it just. I don't even really watch ESPN that much as I used to.
Man, it didn't
but I saw
matter.
that
It
for
was,
some reason.
that play was going to find you.
It was all over, man.
Good Morning
It was all
America.
over. Yeah,
Right.
they had on Good Morning America. It was on everything. I was like I say, we've seen that play happen before. We've
was
seen
on
people
Good
throw
Morning America?
towels.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all over the place.
We've seen people throw towels, wristbands.
Right.
We've seen them throw. I think it's throwing it towards the referee is what got the flag. Maybe if you'd have threw it to the sideline where they team at, they would have okay. Which was, I mean, you throw it over there, but like I say, throwing it toward the referee.
Yeah.
Because refs, they have
emotional too.
Oh, they emotional,
Yeah.
man. They don't want to be.
Yeah, he probably
disrespected
almost
at all.
felt like, well, I got to do something about this.
Yeah.
And, throwing it in that guy's direction wasn't intentional. You just threw
They
it.
hate being
Just do it.
disrespected. So he be like, "Boy, it's flag. You throwing them shoe at me." Okay.
So listen, I always talk about cheating in sports. I've seen it maybe twice in my life.
Cheating?
Cheating, yeah. I run
Only twice.
I run tournaments, right? I run tournaments. Every game, if you run a tournament, a coach is saying that the refs are cheating.
Of
Every
course,
game,
of course.
but literally in my life, I've seen it twice. I saw it once in basketball in high school. We went to Ocala to play against Dante Culpepper them, and they just cheated Norland, just out the gym.
Wow.
The second time is when I got on the bus with youth school, and we went to Bradenton to play Manatee.
That's a story.
With Sam Bruce and Quincy and Scarlett, and y'all jump out 21-zip in the first quarter.
Yep.
And I don't think y'all scored again.
Man, they folded their flags up, stuck them deep down in their pockets, and they only pulled them out when we did something. It was amazing. Yeah. We got cheated bad.
Yeah, see, I don't go around yelling cheating in sports. A lot of times that's just emotions when you're losing. I realize that after I run tournaments. If a coach saying, "Hey man, something wrong," he's losing. I don't even have to ask him to score.
Of course.
Yeah, Ohio State.
But that night, that night up there at U school, when y'all jumped out, Scarlett went like 80 yards on the screen. Y'all up 21-zip.
Yeah.
In Manatee, and they just the referees just kind of like took over the game. First, what happens is the momentum gets taken away.
That's the problem.
Then you switch it. You give it to the other team. You know what I'm saying?
And you're in their stadium, in their town. Yeah.
Right. That's what happens first. You give it to the other team, and then things start going wrong. And I remember getting back on that bus, bro. You're not a really. I remember seeing how mad you were when we got back on that bus.
Man, I'd made a whole YouTube video on it, and the school wouldn't let me post it.
No?
They wouldn't let me post it.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But before that game, Roger gave a speech to the kids that I had never heard. From a standpoint of, first, it was two speeches. That David and Goliath speech was, that guy gave about.
He can speak, man. Roger's very good at expressing himself.
But the speech Roger gave was, he was talking to the youth school kids saying, listen, be proud of who you are. You're at a private school. You didn't grow up impoverished like that. Be proud of who you are. Like, your parents wouldn't let you go to a public school. You have to be proud of who you are. And I had never heard a speech from that standpoint, you know what I'm saying? In that standpoint, and I totally got it. I got it in that moment. So you guys go out there and they just take the game away from y'all.
Yeah.
And then you school, whatever they do with the football, whatever happens with football, and then you end up going to American Heritage.
Yes.
You end up going to American Heritage. Quincy's gone right now.
He is.
Quincy's gone?
Yeah, he made it through at U school. That was his senior year, actually.
That was the senior year?
Yeah, when that whole thing happened with Manatee, but yeah, so he was done.
Quincy, what happened with Quincy in the recruitment? When he
I
started
mean, it was
talking
all
about
good
Miami?
except University of Miami. Listen, 50 offers, I want to say, just not one from University of Miami.
Did they eventually offer him?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. It was
When Quincy was, that's when Al Golden was the coach.
Al Golden was the coach.
Apparently.
Al Golden was the coach. Man, and you know what? Quincy was old enough to have gone to the games with me.
Yeah.
I would take him with me. He was there that whole 2001 season. I think I took him to every game that year. Sitting him on my shoulders on the sideline. So he saw that. All he wanted to be was a Cane.
Whoa. Say it again.
All he wanted to be was a Cane, man. He wore 26 because of Sean Taylor and then Ray.
Right.
So he was all about that. So they would come to practice when he started playing, and all he would hope for is to, hey, with the University of Miami, we're offering you a scholarship, blah, 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 blah. So they would come and that wouldn't happen. They would come and then that wouldn't happen.
Right.
And then these other schools started to come. LSU came, saw him at practice. In fairness, he had a really great practice that day.
Right.
And he was dominating one of our older guys that was getting a lot of heat. So LSU offered him. Then we had our spring game,
Right.
inter-squad game, and all these schools started offering. And Miami wasn't one of them. So at a certain point, it was like, dang, what's up?
Right.
What's up with my dad's school and the school I rooted for? I got half the SEC at this point. What's the deal? So we had that year we had an inter-squad game. You got a lot of offers then, and then we played a game against Boyd Anderson. And that's where T-Rob showed up.
Right.
And it was like almost an instant connection. He offered Quincy, and then that connection.
T-Rob was at Florida now, right?
T-Rob was at Florida,
Right.
and he was like, he brought this energy to him, and it was like being coached by me. If he was going to get coached by him in college. And so these offers kept coming, and they kept building that relationship, but nothing from Miami. You'd go down there on a visit. Al Golden ain't really talk to you, and then the clincher was he got a name tag when he went down there one time, and it said Quincy Wilson, safety / linebacker. And he was a corner.
Right.
It was a corner through and through. That was the clincher for him. So we went down there. We were in the team meeting room before we go through the day's festivities, and he got that. He took it, threw it over to me. I looked at it, and he was done.
That was it.
Now, he was going to be there for 2 hours, but he was through. Like, okay, let's just get this over with, done with this school, done with this staff. Now, if you offered, I don't even want it.
Right.
So the real heat came was, you remember that app called Vine back then?
Yeah.
He and his brother made a Vine one day. He goes to the mailbox at the house, and there's always mail from schools. So pulls out the mail, he's thumbing through the mail. It's Michigan, all these other schools, and there was a Miami one. He's, Marco's filming it. Pulled out the Miami one, flung it down the street. That Vine went out there, and Miami fans went
They
crazy.
didn't run this by you first, did they?
No, whatever. But you know what? I didn't want to control the emotions
Yeah.
too much. I didn't want to dominate it too much. Like, I wanted authentic. This is how you feel, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if I'd have stopped it. Maybe I would have. But they did it. Flung it down the street. Nah, man, if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. You know what I mean? They've been dissing you. What's wrong with them?
Right.
So at the end of the day, though, man, to be honest, I can say this honestly now. Even if they offered, I probably wouldn't have gone there. We were bad defensively.
D'Onofrio, right? It was D'Onofrio?
Yeah, D'Onofrio.
Coach No D.
Yeah, no D.
Coach No D.
Couldn't stop a nosebleed. It would have been a
And
bad.
then the secondary, the DB coach was
Paul Williams.
Oh my
P.
God.
P. Willie.
Yeah.
Which
Hey.
I'm cool with P. Willie,
Oh, my
man.
God.
But yo, nah, no.
Listen, man, when people start talking that emotional stuff online, I used to always get on them and be like, okay, well, listen, would you send your child to play for D'Onofrio? And then they would always think.
Right.
Yeah, they would always think.
The smart ones would actually think, yeah, be like, man, it's the U.S.,
Right.
Now, when you have a child and this is their future, you don't think like that. It's easy for a 19, 20-something-year-old who doesn't have a kid, even a 30-something-year-old that doesn't have a teenager yet, where those decisions are
Right.
coming in to say, oh, I would do this, that. No, it gets different when it's your own kid. So he probably wouldn't have gone there. It would have been a bad situation for him to be there at Miami, playing in that defense. Me sitting there in the stands as someone who played on a great defense when I was there. I coached defense, and to watch that, I'd have been pissed. He would have had probably a bad experience, and it would have been one of these things where, well, you forced me to go to this school. Look how it is. Who knows? It might have put tension in our relationship now. So
Why do you think, you understand recruiting, you got a whole app,
Yeah.
Why do you think they were skipping over him? Just not in touch with who he was?
that staff had a way of overanalyzing things. I just think they overdid it, and after a while, it started to become so much pressure about not offering him that they just resisted it just to feel like they weren't forced into it. He was a big cornerback,
Right.
which was kind of new back then.
Right.
Seattle had just started bringing that into play, but it was like, is he a corner? Is he a safety? And if we offer him as a safety, he doesn't want to play safety. It was a whole bunch of stuff in the way. And then after a while, the pressure became so big that I felt like they were like, we're not gonna offer him just to be bullied into it. And then he was like, it don't matter if you offer me or not at this point. I'm not going there.
Right.
So it flipped over to, we might even offer this kid, and then he doesn't come. Then that looks bad for us. Like, that makes us look bad. So it just got to a point where.
So when he made the Vine, did he get the fans went crazy?
Oh yeah, he went. There was sympathy for him not being offered. Like, Al Golden, you're an idiot. This kid can play. To, well, F him, man. Like if that's how he feel, like we don't want him here. So he turned into an enemy.
Yeah, you on fans, man.
Yeah, it was Luke Skywalker. He turned into Darth Vader.
Right. So was Marco Recruitment different?
Well, yeah, it was Manny. Manny came along at that point. They realized some of the mistakes that had been made by the previous staff.
Yeah.
Manny was certainly not Al. He was a little smarter about how you do things here.
Right.
So they recruited Marco.
Yeah.
And then, Marco played for Mike Rump.
For Rump, at
Right.
Heritage.
Yeah,
right?
so Rump knew the kind of player that Marco was. Obviously, he's the one that brought me in
Right.
at Heritage. So they recruited him.
Right.
The thing is that Marco had spent 3 years going to Florida every Saturday, building a relationship there, and then all these other schools were coming along. He really, really liked USC. Marco has loved LA for a while.
Yeah.
We went out. I took him out there as kids. We went out there as a family, and he was telling me how much he loved LA. And I was like, man, you just love LA because we were in a hotel and you didn't have to make your bed up. But it was something more than that. It persisted. He really loved Los Angeles, so he went out there to USC. He really liked them, and it really just came down to USC and Florida, and Miami was kind of a distant third for whatever the reason may be. I guess
That recruitment was lost with Quincy. You
it
see how things snowballed?
really was.
Yeah.
It really was
Right.
because there was negativity in the household about how he got how they did him, and it wasn't Manny. It was just a school. At this point, the logo did me like that. So he didn't hate Miami. It's just they really not in the mix.
Right.
I like LA. I might want to be at USC, and I've been going to Florida. I know them. I'm comfortable. So.
Right.
I think your son Quincy's recruitment it put like a dapper on you on program with a lot of local kids because they looked at that. A lot of kids were like, man, you won't be trying. Why they be trying us local kids? And it was that staff, that golden staff that did it.
Right.
Cause they even did it with Amari Cooper. Like, nah, you gonna not offer Amari Cooper? You gonna offer him the last week before Saturday?
Right.
Really? He's right here.
Yeah.
So a lot of kids was looking at that and like, man, you know what? Forget you.
So they knew who you. Let's be honest. Let's get it all out there. They knew who you were. They knew you played for UM. They knew all. They knew all of it. It's not like they were in the dark.
Yeah.
And they just chose not to.
Yeah. Didn't recruit him. Didn't really even talk to me that much. Now, and like you could talk to me not even about my kid. I coach. I'm a whole defensive coordinator out here. I coach for South Florida Express. Like, I'm a phone call you should be making. Maybe they were apprehensive in calling me because I had my son, but you should have been talking to me
all the time
on many levels
Yeah.
about a whole bunch of kids, and they just didn't do it. So at a certain point, I was
maybe
like,
they felt like you was going to be Michael Irvin. Like, man, my son going to you no matter what.
you can't never make that assumption at all, man, because it's a different deal. It's your kid.
Son.
It's their future. I mean, I'm not gonna tell my kid, man, you got to drive the car I drive.
Right.
You got to marry the woman like the one I married, or you got to buy a house like I. No, these are your own decisions, So you can't assume that a player that played there will push their kid in that direction.
Right.
They may not belong there. It may not be for them. Whatever, or And the other thing too is you got to feel like the staff wants your kid there.
Yeah.
If you're not contacting, feeling like I'm gonna push my kid to this school, and this is not just Miami, any school. Don't feel like you just gonna push the kid there. It might be another staff really doing great work, or you might really like a guy at another place, and that's where the kid's gonna go. It's about relationships anyway. So.
Right. That's you have a different view on youth football. You took your kids out of youth football at what age?
I took them out. I took Quincy out when he was going to 8th grade. Took Marco out 6th grade.
6th grade?
Yes.
And you put him in junior high ball.
I put him in junior high ball.
Junior high ball. Who they was playing against?
The I couldn't even tell you the names of the schools. You know, it was not all that important.
Right.
You know, when you have two, you realize with the second one, some of the things you thought were important weren't that important. So it was kind of a necessity when I put them into university school. So, you know, to get the discounts that you were going to get, they needed to be playing sports at that school. So I had to make that decision. And when I took Quincy out and put him into the middle school football in 8th grade, it's like, you know what, this ain't that bad. And you know what? It's 9 games, 10 games. When it's over, he gets to be a kid. You know, football's not the whole half a year.
Right.
You can go ride a bike, you can go play video games, you can go do all those things, because I realized that you gotta be a kid.
Okay.
Time's gonna be up, and you gotta be a kid. You don't want him trying to be a kid when it's not time to be a kid.
Right.
So I saw that part of it. So when Marco came along, I was like, well, we can make this decision. Now, he wasn't happy about it. You know, you're with your friends, but it was 6th grade, put him in the middle school football, and it was fine.
Yeah.
Now, you're not playing against the greatest competition.
He was killing it. They killed it.
Yeah, I mean, Belen had a team where they would bring 100 kids. Maybe that was the best team they played against, but the rest of them, it's just fine. It's little league football.
Right.
You know, until they have a mustache, man, it don't matter. They gotta enjoy it.
So talk to me about that. You're saying that it doesn't matter why? Does that matter because their dad played at a high level and you were able to train them their whole life? Or are you just saying it don't matter?
Well, look, let's get that training part thing straight. First of all, if anyone thinks I trained my sons as defensive backs at those young ages, they didn't play defensive back. Quincy was a quarterback all the way till high school.
Gotcha.
And the plan was for him to be a quarterback in high school. It just turned out to not happen that way. Marco was a quarterback. Then he played everything. He was a linebacker, to be actually. You know, so it wasn't. I wasn't out there doing DB drills with him. You know, the idea was to make them as good an athlete as possible. They ran track, they played baseball, they did basketball, they did everything possible to become really, really good athletes, because I know that's what's going to matter for the most part when they hit puberty and they get to high school. So it wasn't even about that.
Right.
So there wasn't a whole bunch of training. Yeah, in the summertime, would I go out, you're in the house all day, y'all ain't going to tear the house up. Right. Let's go to the park and do something. So we'd throw the ball.
So no Tom Marinovich, none of that going on?
No, man, no, it wasn't a whole bunch of training like that. No? Your training was playing a different sport, being around different people, learning how to be a teammate. This is what's happening now. And all these guys are going to trainers, you're doing one-on-one with trainers, you don't even know how to be a teammate.
Right.
Go play with some baseball kids, those are different type of kids. Go play basketball, those are different type of kids. Go run track. That digs something out of you on a personal level, but you're still around other people, and now you know how to be a teammate. These kids that go and train, they live in a bubble, they don't know how to be around other people. It's really all about me.
That's true.
I don't know how to be a teammate. Football is the ultimate team sport, and your total focus is on me, not the guy next to me, because my trainer says I'm God.
Were you training kids then, or you just coaching?
Just coaching.
Just coaching.
Yeah, the whole training thing has only been going on for the last 4 or 5 years, maybe.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you got 2 kids eventually going to be in the NFL. You would attest that to what? So what would be the reason why you say 2 kids, D1 played high D1 that went to the NFL?
Well, first you gotta have the genetics.
You
gotta have the genes. Let's not be silly.
Now we talking.
Yeah, I can't turn a puddle into
Right.
So good genetics, a good upbringing, which people will see me and think it's all about that, but no, I got to give a lot of credit to my wife. She instilled a lot of discipline in the kids, just on the day-to-day.
Right.
The kids were washing clothes before they could see into the washing. He was just throwing it over. She's like, I'm not going to be cleaning these clothes. Yeah, I'm not going to be doing all this. They had chores, they had things they had to do. So there was a little bit of a regimen, which is what you run into when you get to high school or college. Right. So there's that. And then, you know what? Having a mom and dad at home provides stability. You know what I mean? That's long lasting. How many great athletes have we seen out here that just don't have that stability? We all grew up in a neighborhood, and the best player in our neighborhood never made it to the big lights. The fastest dude, because you just lacked the stability to have the grades, to not fight with your coaches, to not go out, smoke, drink, etc. All the things that will shortcut your career. So stability and probably that final piece, and then the determination by them, the want to. They love the sport. You know, that's another thing that happens too. Some of these parents drag the love right out the sport. You riding the kids, they playing how many football games? These youth league 24.
It's year round now, man.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
the preseason tournament, and it's the postseason tournament because we're gonna have the best of the best. And kid didn't play 24 football games, and yeah, all right, they might be smiling on the field, but you know, at a certain point, kids like, man, I'd love to do something else. I'd love to play Fortnite. I'd love to go play Warzone, but nah, Dad got me running through drills in the alley, running around cones, and it's really Dad's dream.
Yeah, like you said, it's important for them to be kids. A lot of parents.
You got to,
looking over
man.
that.
Yeah, they gotta ride a bike. They gotta play. They gotta do stuff with their friends. Because you know, like I said, when the mustache come in, it's time for this thing to be for real. You want your kids to say, "Hey, I gotta go train." Not you telling them, you know, grabbing them like, "Hey, we gotta go train." If you're doing that when they're teenagers, man,
Right.
yeah,
So
they're not gonna make
eyesight,
it. They're not gonna make it.
No. So have you ever seen anybody damn good that wasn't genetically, like his parents wasn't athletes, he wasn't genetically giving anything, he just has a motor and he can go hard at it?
Off the top of my head, I can't say that. And then sometimes you'll have a kid whose parents are older, and you didn't talk to the parents, so you don't know what they really were back in their day. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. There are a few, maybe.
Right.
Man, there've been a lot of kids that I've coached who I never met the dad, never saw the dad, so the dad might have been something.
Right.
Maybe they don't know the dad.
A lot of them.
Mom wasn't an athlete.
LeBron James.
Yeah, right. Right.
We still ain't seen his dad. We like.
But dad was
his dad somewhere.
Yeah,
like,
dad was a baller. You know
Right.
what I mean? So you have no idea. So I can't really totally answer that.
You coach a few kids I want to talk about. Give me Sam Bruce. Tell me something about Sam Bruce.
Tremendously gifted, talented. I'm not telling anyone anything they don't know. Just maybe it was a thing where it was too much too soon.
The same thing I said.
Yeah, a youth football legend, which I've run into a lot of those.
Right.
The thing about him is when he came to high school, he still was athletically on par with all those other guys.
Right.
What usually happens with the youth legends is
They fall off.
yeah, they fall off.
There was no fall
athletically.
off.
There was no fall off. So,
No.
so maybe on his point, it was a mental thing. Like your head got a little too big, and just couldn't manage your personal life. That's what happens to a lot of guys.
Yeah.
You know, couldn't manage his personal life because physically he was gifted.
Right.
Still is. You know, I follow him on Instagram.
He still is. I go to Gold Feet. He's out there. He works out. He's
Yeah.
that'll always be. That's
Yeah. If I could just boil it down to one thing, just not being able to manage your personal
Right.
life.
Where's the quarterback name at your school?
We
With
had
Auburn.
Sean White.
Sean White.
And we had Mike White before that. Mike White was the one that won the state championship. He was the quarterback
Right.
state championship. He's with the Jets right now
Yeah.
too, still playing. So
So Sean White. Tell me
Yeah.
about Sean White. Sean White goes to Auburn, and then
man, I mean, most people felt like he probably shouldn't have been going to Auburn.
Auburn?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Now Sean, I'd known since Little League.
oh really?
Yeah, I want to say my first year being a head coach, we going to play Boca. I got the film, and there's this kid throwing like no other kid. So I remember telling Quincy and Corey Holmes, who was on my team at the time, they were the safeties. I said, listen, I'm telling y'all in cover 2 to backpedal, and y'all don't do it. And every week you get away with it.
Right.
I said, if you don't do it this week, the boy gonna hang a ball over your head,
Right.
and you don't want to see me. He hang a ball over your head, y'all now play for them. Don't come to this sideline because I told you all week.
Right.
And he just had an arm like that. So he was outstanding from the beginning. Talented.
Right.
Super arm. Played baseball too, I believe, so was pretty good at baseball. But when he came out, man, he went to Auburn. It was not really suited for him. Yes, he was athletic, but not athletic in the way that.
To run the offense.
Right.
So I just really, to be honest, I wish he would have gone to Florida.
Uh-huh.
You know, I tried to get him to go there, but they had other
Right.
areas they wanted to go. So he really went to a system that didn't fit him. If he could have gone into a place that really threw the ball around, I think he would have had a different career, and things would have worked out differently. And people fail to realize that part of it. Your
Always.
system, where you go to, the what you get put into has a lot to do with how your career turns out. And we call guys bust, but it wasn't.
I said.
There's nothing wrong with you. It's the
Colleges
system.
fail kids all the time.
Yeah.
Colleges fail kids. Stanford Samuel basically felt like, let me get out of Florida State before I lose everything I do know. You would have went. Your son would have went to UM.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the number one DB in the nation went to UM, Tracy Howard, and they played him off, and they put him in a system that did not suit him at all.
Yep.
I had no doubt in my mind Tracy could play.
Yep. And Tracy, the problem was Tracy knew it.
Yeah.
And Tracy would probably express himself like, man, what are we doing?
Right.
That doesn't go over well with coaches.
Right. There's no doubt in my mind
Yeah,
that
that
Tracy could
happened.
play.
Yeah, well, he started expressing himself a lot, and that's when
Yeah.
he started. Hey, come on, you get out the game. We gonna
Yeah,
put
he
somebody
started doing
who
it
can do
right
that.
when he got interceptions against Florida.
Yeah.
Then he was out there just doing.
He was one of the smartest.
just-
one of the smartest players.
Right.
In high school, he probably had to bite his tongue for a long time over
Right.
there. Finally bit through the tongue.
Right. And then the last one, you got to coach against Joe Yerby and Dalvin Cook in the rain that night.
Unfortunately, yes.
Anyway, what do you remember anything from that game?
Outstanding, man.
Yeah.
First of all, what was the left tackle's name? Trevor Darling.
Darling, right?
Darling, yeah.
That's
Darling.
the first thing I really noticed, in person. I obviously saw it on film. Amazing football team. But I got there in person and saw that dude. I was like, wow. First of all,
Big
you got them
huge.
two jackrabbits back there.
Right.
But they running behind this mountain. It's like, well, we got our work cut out for us. To our credit, defensively, we played a great game that
Right.
night. But those two dudes were one of a kind, man.
Yeah.
It's very rare you get two running backs or two players like that on one football team. So
Right.
they deserved everything they got. They
Right.
were super talented.
Your season ended against Booker T, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So earlier that year, I asked Harry, hey, boy, this is a rough schedule y'all got. He said, yeah, like we're trying to get ready for the playoffs. That was the Trayon Harris Booker T team, right?
Yes.
When
Also very
were just-
unfortunate for us.
They would just line up, and I don't know what they were just lined up, man. The offense had so much continuity, like it was so in sync. I think it was Trayon too. I don't think it was the coaches. I think it was him.
Yeah, Trayon. It was a lot. It had a lot to do with him.
Willing that offense. So y'all got to go against that, and they got ugly, didn't it?
Yeah, I appreciate that schedule so much. But no, it was good to have had those experiences.
Right.
To go play Central in the Mecca, and then we ended with Booker T. They ended up blowing us out. But man, you know what? I'd give credit to both. Ice is a great coach. That's been proven. You know what I mean? Sometimes there is genius and simplicity. So there was some simplicity there. We have the talent. Let's not outcoach ourselves.
Right.
Trayon ran that thing well.
He did.
He knew when to run. He knew when to throw. He distributed the ball well to all of the talented receivers they had. And then they had Mark in the backfield.
Yeah.
So if you got too crazy trying to cover all these guys, you turn
Yeah,
around,
Mark
hand it to
Walker.
Mark, and
Right.
you can get you 7, 8, or 80. So
Right.
they had talent everywhere. And on the defense too, they had Chad. They had a
Matthew
number.
Thomas.
Matthew Thomas.
Yeah. On top of that, I forgot about that. You know what I mean?
No, they
and then
had-
Nigel in the secondary. Oh, there's talent everywhere. So it was a good coming together for them.
Right.
Not so much for us.
Right. So, I mean, Trayon, I would have bet the house Trayon was going to be successful. I thought he was going to be one of those Quentin Flowers kids
Yeah.
in college, and it didn't work out for him at Florida. So listen, man, wrap this thing up. You send 2 kids to Florida. You play for Miami. They're both going to the league. You like LeVar Ball Part 2, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Hopefully, man, his kids are really like balling, not pun intended, but
oh man, LaMelo,
Yeah.
I saw him last night.
yeah, he's
I-
looking real nice. So
Right.
shout out to Pops, whatever he did. Forget about all the haters. Them kids are millionaires and they balling and look
Right.
like they're enjoying life. So
Right. You look back on that. You can't say you would have did anything different.
no, man. Like I said, it was their decision to make. We
Uh-huh.
raised 2 responsible kids, and we felt at that point in time when they were, when that came around for them, they were mature enough to make the decision.
Right.
The only thing we really provided for them was showing them how you go about making a decision.
Right.
And they did the research, and I'm extremely proud about the steps that they took.
When you
to
say
make the
research,
decision.
talk to the kids. Tell them what you mean. Like what kind of research can a kid do?
Just to give you an idea, they would obviously look into a coach when a coach, reached out to them. Where did the coach coach? Who did he coach? And then they would go on the recruiting trips. We went on some unofficial visits, which I recommend for kids if you can afford it as
Yeah.
parents or whatever. Go on the unofficial visits because it's more of a look into what it actually is going to be like at the school. Perhaps you can even see a practice so you can see how that coach really talks to the players. You know, you go on them official visits, there's a whole bunch of,
Yeah, everything's perfect. Yeah.
you know, you go eat at a restaurant you will never be able to eat at again, or you know, you stay in a hotel you're never gonna go to again. So the unofficial visit's more of a real thing. So they would soak in all of the information there, listen to the coaches, come home, and then on game day, a game's being played, they would break out the laptop and look at the depth chart.
Yeah.
You know, see who's there, that kind of stuff. And just do their little research and speak with the coaches. And after each trip, I would just ask them, you know, what did you see? And they would tell me what they saw, and a lot of times it just matched up with what I saw. And I'm an adult, I'm a full-grown man. So from that point, you realize, okay, they can make this decision. So it's not gonna be me forcing you somewhere. This is your life. So
You know, we don't take in consideration. I tell parents all the time. Your kid get up and goes to school 6 o'clock in the morning, and then comes home 5 o'clock. They're making decisions every day that can change their life.
You pray they make good ones.
and we act as if they're irresponsible. No, I remember the decisions I had to make every day. And it was life-changing decisions. And I just chose not to do what some other people were doing. So we never give them that enough credit that, man, we don't have much control over what. Like, you just hope that you did what you had to do when they were this big, and now they're out there.
It's exactly what it is. Yeah, I was a latchkey kid in New York City.
Yeah.
Riding a bus. You know how many decisions you make? Brother, you make a lot of decisions. I was told not to go on the subway. You know, I could have gone on the subway. God in heaven knows what was going on. I mean, they were pushing people on the tracks back then. I could have been stubborn because my friends would go ride the subway. So you make a lot of decisions. There are decisions you need to make as a parent. Like me personally, when they're in high school, I don't think you let that kid choose a high school. That's a decision we will make. When college comes around, you know, hopefully you're mature enough to, you know, make that decision. You should make that decision. But yeah, by and large, you're right. Yeah. They make a ton of decisions. We don't need to baby them. They grow up real fast in this day and age with social media. They can see any and everything that they probably shouldn't see. So.
Everything. So tell people where they can find you, bro. Everywhere they can find you.
Well, listen, right now, one of the biggest things I'm trying to push is my YouTube channel. You can find me youtube.com/CWilson91. Got stuff there on DB training, got stuff on, you know, recruiting, how to get recruited, making a great highlight video, which you do great stuff on that too. That's your resume. So if you listen between the two of us and you still got a bad highlight video.
No, listen, man, what you do on Instagram and TikTok, man, is very valuable. That's why sometimes I see it, I just share it. Because people need to see it. We start talking about, this is what offensive tackle look like. These are offensive tackles. You start going down the line.
Man, if you don't look like that, don't be talking about going to Michigan. You know what I mean? So you just got to be real with them. But yeah, so Instagram and TikTok at Gridiron Studs. I'm on Twitter at Gridiron Studs. I'll even interact with you. Just don't be bringing up stuff about a shoe. We're good. So those really are the basic ways.
You just left Arizona training for players prepared to go to the NFL, right?
Yeah, guys are having their pro days, so I go out there and work with them on the drills. So I was in Arizona and LA working with a bunch of guys, obviously Marco and Pat Surtain, and then DiCaprio Boodle and a bunch of guys that they had at Exos. Tyson Campbell, who played for me in high school, along with J.C. Horn, who's one of the top corners. So getting a chance to work with all those guys to see what they got and just kind of preparing for the pro days that are coming up.
Last thing, who's the best guy you ever lined up in front of?
Man, Marvin Harrison.
I've heard that numerous times.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison played against him. Syracuse did get an interception, but man, he was a pretty good route runner. And they didn't have a real wide open offense. But he was their guy, so the balls were coming to him. He was a pretty shifty route runner. Yeah, definitely.
He had a good game?
Worth his weight. Not that I remember, man. It was tough to get by our defensive line. We were great on defense my senior year, and I held it down. I held it down. I took it as a challenge, So
you learn anything from Randy? Coaching defense,
So taking complicated, making it simple for your athletes so that they can move fast on the football field. He's one of the best at that. So
that seems so simple.
It's simple, but it's hard, man. It's you understand your own defense, so you expect the players to understand it. And one of the great things that Randy has mastered is, yes, I know this defense, but I've got to translate it. The trick is taking what I know and getting it to these guys and getting them to understand it in a way that they don't have to think so much when they're out on the football field.
And he could communicate it well.
Oh, definitely. the fortunate thing is I spent time around him at Miami, but then he coached both of my kids. And that was the one thing that they said. He takes the defense and makes it simple so I can just move fast on the football field. Both of them have said that. So it's a gift that he has, and it's something I've tried to bring to defenses when I coached, was just try and simplify things for them.
So they can play without thinking.
Yeah, they don't spend as much time with it as I do. And
Right.
as coaches, you got to realize that this is your everything. It's not for them. They got girlfriends. They got, they got friends. They don't spend as much as you would like them to. Maybe 2 or 3 guys on your football team might really be into it in the high school level like that. So you got to make it so all 11 guys on defense can run around and move fast, and they got to really, really understand it. So it's one thing he really taught me.
This coaches, man, I hope y'all rewind that and play that back. But I don't know. Like you said, it may just be a talent to be able to communicate to people to get them to do.
Yeah, different coaches have different talents. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's you get your players charged up to go play, to go play with their hair on fire. Some guys are really, really good at that. You know what I mean?
Because Randy's not a rah-rah guy.
No, not at all. Not at all. Low key. We're kind
Looking
of.
at them defenses, you want.
No, but them dudes were pretty good at firing themselves up. But no, he was not that. It was really business. This is where you be. This is the defense. Randy really understood defense.
Yeah.
And that's what really how he was able to stay with the Cowboys. How he was able to get all these coaching positions. He just really understood the intricacies of defense.
Okay. All right, make sure y'all go follow us on Instagram, Footballville Nation, Caneville 305, on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, man, we everywhere, man. Go follow us on social media. Bro, you'd have been at UNLV in the heyday when they had
Basketball-wise.
Yeah, basketball.
Basketball-wise, so
that was right around that time, right?
Yeah.
That was it, right.
No, they actually, the school I ended up, they were monsters. So they came and destroyed Long Beach State where I ended up, but yeah, so I would have had to catch whatever scraps the basketball players threw away. But yeah, too much fun. Didn't go there. Went to San Diego State on a recruiting visit. Great, man. If anyone's been to San Diego, it's a lovely place to be. Took me down to Tijuana. I had a great host, a guy named Robert Griffith, who ended up playing several years in the league for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah.
Great trip. So at the end of the trip, I went and committed to San Diego State. So, great, you committed. Let's call your dad. Got dad on the phone. If somebody could come through a phone and choke you, my dad did that. So I decommitted soon after committing because Pops was going to kill me. I wasn't supposed to do that.
He didn't want you to play the game like that.
You know what? He let me go on the trip. My older cousin had gone there. My dad didn't like the way his career went. And he also felt like they were going to make me an offensive player because San Diego State was all about offense. My dad knew that my future was on defense. So there were a number of reasons why he didn't want me to go there. Right. And then on top of all that, I was not to make a decision at the school.
Right.
Come home, get away from everything, talk about it. If you still feel like that 2-3 days later,
right.
Then you commit. Plus, he wanted me to take all my visits, and I agreed with that.
Right.
So, didn't go to San Diego State. Took a trip to Cal State Fullerton, who was playing football at the time. They no longer have a program. On the trip, 2 dudes got into a fight on the team. One was a Blood, one was a Crip. The dude who got the short end of it called the homies, went outside, called the homies to come up there and smoke the dude that was a Blood. I was like, I ain't feeling the team unity. So I ain't coming here. So I ain't go to Fullerton. I went to Cal. I want to say Cal might have been my 3rd trip. And Cal wanted me.
Yeah.
But me not having that guidance, I said, I appreciate it. I want to take all my trips. Well, Cal ain't waiting for me. So I want to say a week later, after talking to me all week and me sitting tight on that, that I want to take all my visits, they eventually gave the scholarship away to another guy.
Right.
So at the time I was like, well, all right. So didn't end up going to Cal. I took one of my last visits. If it wasn't the last, it was the second to last to Long Beach State.
Right.
They had a guy named George Allen who was a legend coaching for the Redskins. My DB coach was going to be Willie Brown, a Hall of Famer. My dad knew him. He was a big Oakland Raiders fan. And they successfully got me there. My dad he didn't force me, but he was gently pushing me in that direction.
Long Beach State.
Yeah, he felt like they would have pro connections. It would be a good deal for me. They're turning the program around.
Dad knew what he was talking about. Dad was an athlete?
Basketball.
Yeah,
he was a hooper. So as much as he could help me in that football recruiting process, he did. He didn't know it all, but you know, he did help me from that standpoint. I had a lot of wisdom too, just in general, reading people, knowing who has your best interest in mind. So he helped me from that point, and ended up going to Long Beach State. Now, on my visit, I asked several times to see the stadium. Man, they were very skilled. The coach in charge of me found hey, let's go see the girls volleyball game.
He said they were skilled.
Very skilled. Man, they don't show you the stadium. The stadium was Veteran Stadium. It's a one-sided stadium, seats 12,500 people. You could see a game at the stoplight. You could catch parts of the game if you were at the stoplight. Man, had you shown me that, I'd have been like, I don't know about
Veteran Stadium. We heard of Veteran Stadium, no?
No, man, I don't know. I don't know why you would have if you're from Miami.
Right.
But yeah, man, and Long Beach Poly and Long Beach City College had dibs on it first, and you know we got
the high schools had dibs on
Long Beach Poly. That's that.
Poly is a big deal out there,
Yeah.
but should they be over a university? I guess so. We were third in line, but nevertheless, they kept the stadium away from me. And then when I signed there in the summertime, we go to do this big scrimmage. Let's go to the stadium. I'm like, all right, I'm finally see the stadium, man. We driving through. It's a big old parking lot because it was shared with this company called McDonnell Douglas. So you driving through this parking lot for a while. So I see the stadium out there, high school stadium. So I asked the senior corner I was sitting next to. I was like, man, who played at that stadium? He goes, man, we do, dog. I was like, all right, bro. Freshman, you just talking crazy. But for real, who played there? He said, bro, I'm trying to tell you. We do. So I was like, bus starts slowing down when we get to the stadium. I'm like, wait, what? Pulls up. All right, fellas. I'm like, man, this dude ain't lying. We play. I go in there, there's hooks on the wall, man. My heart sunk. I'm like, because I really just wanted to play big time college football.
Right.
So this is the Division I football, but we on the one side of the stadium.
We had a one-sided stadium.
Yeah, man. And I was like, man, and my heart sunk. But I recovered, went and played well. Started as a freshman at Long Beach State. Yeah.
At cornerback?
At corner, yeah. Yeah, I was done. My running back days was over. 163 pounds don't fly too well at running back.
Right.
Hits come different at 163.
So how many years you did at Long Beach?
I did a season. I did 2 seasons at Long Beach. I was there a year and a half. So after the first season, the head coach passed away. George Allen passed away. And they gave the head coaching job to my DB coach. Great guy, just wasn't quite ready to be a head coach. Came back home to play Miami. They paid us to play.
Who did Miami have then?
Oh man, it was a '91 championship team that we played. So
Gino Toretta.
yeah, Barrow, Smith, Armstead, Toretta, Thomas, Copeland, Williams.
Who you had to go? Who you
name
guarded?
it. All three of them. All three of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but only for a minute because the game got out of hand. In the game, I want to say it got to like 21-0. Play happened. I'm running down the field with Lamar. He looks at me, goes, what is it? 5-something in the second quarter. I think I'm gonna go sit up in the stands with my girl. You take it easy. And jogged off. I was like, wow. So they handed it to us, man, 55-0. But you know, in a game where most of my teammates just decided to fold, it's the Hurricanes.
Right.
I got 21 people at the game. I'm back home. I'm balling, and this was a chance for me to show out. So I had individually a pretty good game within the tragedy that was happening to us. So
you played well.
I played well in the game. Yeah. Matter of fact, you know, we might get to that story, but the one thing Miami looked at it in bringing me over here was that game.
Wow.
And the fact that in a game where we're getting beat up 55-0 and everyone's folding, I kept playing, I guess, was enough to impress them.
Yeah. So basically, that was like your tryout for you.
Who knew at the time? You know, who knew at the time? But yeah.
So you go back, y'all done got whooped. You go back home, man.
Yeah. First of all, I knew I was leaving because we just got our heads handed to us. I get on the plane and dudes are hitting them little cocktails. They laughing. You would have had no idea we lost the game, and it just really pissed me off. Me and the other corner, who had come from Texas, sat next to each other on the plane, and the both of us just looked at us and said, "Man, this ain't it."
Right.
You know, he wanted to go back to Texas, play real football. I wanted to do the same. This was an embarrassment to me, and I didn't want to continue on. So I was actually trying to transfer. And then got blessed later on. They cut the whole program so you didn't have to sit out. And anyone and everyone could recruit you.
Right.
So whatever I missed in recruiting high school wise, I got it then because every school started recruiting me then. So
Yeah.
I was able to get my whole grand moment of all the schools recruiting me, et cetera, et cetera.
So you took the visits again?
I set up visits.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with all those schools coming in there, I was talking to all these schools. I really wanted to come back home. When I was trying to transfer, to Florida State. The reason I was trying to transfer to Florida State because I realized I was probably gonna have to walk on.
Right.
So I figured I can afford to go to Florida State. I'm not gonna be able to afford to go to Miami.
Right.
Plus, you're a defensive back. Florida State just had Deion Sanders. They had Terrell Buckley at the time,
Right.
who I would tape Florida State games and just watch what he was doing.
Right.
So there were reasons I was trying to go there, but when everything fell off and it looks like I can get a scholarship, I called Ryan. Ryan was down here at the University of
Miami.
Yeah, he just completed his first year. I said, man, they cut our football program. I got all these schools coming at me, man. Can you see if Miami would be interested? So he went and told Randy Shannon, and Randy got the ball rolling. They watched the film, and they offered me a scholarship.
Oh.
But I had set up all these visits. Now I set up a visit to Hawaii because I'd never been to Hawaii. Not going to Hawaii, but I get to go to Hawaii. So
Right.
I set up a visit to Hawaii, one to LSU, one to Houston, who was good at the time. Remember they had all that
Running
running
shoe,
shoe.
Country wear,
Yeah, they were throwing up points, so Houston looked like a good place to be. And one other place, might have been LSU. I want to say. And I'm getting excited about all these visits. Randy called me and said, "Hey, look, school starting this week. If you want a scholarship, you got to come now."
Yeah.
Bump all them visits. Jumped on a plane, came back home, and never took all those visits. But I was a Miami Hurricane, so it was all cool.
Right.
Yeah.
So what year was this?
1992. It had just turned 1992 at that time.
1992. So you get to Miami, and this is in the middle of, they just won national championship.
Just won a national championship. Matter of fact, I got there, and dudes were getting their rings, for 1991. Man, they're giving out the rings upstairs, man.
Who's the coach?
Dennis Erickson.
Dennis Erickson?
Yeah.
So now you're a junior. You're a sophomore or junior?
I am a junior because I didn't redshirt
Right.
at Long Beach State.
Right. So you get to Miami, and how you get acclimated in Miami? It's a different breed of basketball football now. I mean, this is what you always wanted.
It's what I always wanted. It's major college football. It's at the best program in the country. I like it. It couldn't have been any better.
Right.
This is major college football at its best. So acclimation. I remember the first team meeting. Might have been in the first 2 or 3 days that I was there. I go into the big team meeting room, which I think is called the EJ room now, Edwin James room. And I opened that door, and they were beating on the desk and dancing.
Yeah.
There weren't no coaches in there yet, but I opened the door, and that was the team meeting. Nothing I'd ever experienced before. We didn't do that at Long Beach State,
No.
And the energy was crazy. And I'm like, wow, I'm at the University of Miami. But my real I'm at Miami moment was we were at spring practice, and we would stretch. We had these stretch lines, and then at the end of the stretch lines, we'd come together in a circle, and they would call one player out, and the player would say something, whatever, to get everyone cranked up. So my first day, they call out Horace Copeland, who's a tremendous athlete, 6'2", 6'3", athletic as all hell. I didn't know how athletic he was, but he comes out into the center. He said what AB said, didn't bend his knees, backflip. And I'm like, I gotta cover that dude today. I'm here thinking about 4'2" Kevin Williams.
Right.
But I gotta cover that dude that just didn't bend his knees and do a backflip. I'm like, boy, I'm at Miami, so
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was a challenge. Like, yeah, I better step it up. I better be ready for whatever's coming my way today.
Kevin Williams was there.
Kevin Williams.
Horace Copeland, Kevin. Who else was there?
It was Lamar.
Lamar Thomas.
Yeah.
Horace Copeland, Kevin Williams.
Yeah.
Kevin Williams. That name. Why didn't that name ring
It
bells?
was
Why doesn't it ring bells?
Because once Kevin Williams left, big man.
Yeah.
Then insert Santana Moss. So you kind of forget about them. You know what I'm saying? And then inserts Devin Hester. So you start like, well,
Which is amazing to me
Right.
that he could even be forgotten. Yeah, it really is. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean, as a punt returner, He was as good as they.
Yeah,
as
he
they
was
came.
the guy before them other two names I just named. He was the man. That's why I say like it just so happened that they did it and the name just was bigger and better.
Yeah.
But Kevin Williams was the man. Like he was literally the man, number 5.
Yeah. When we played them at Long Beach State, we had a special teams meeting the week leading up to, and special teams coach talking about how we gonna kick to them and how we gonna run down there and cover, and I'm like, Coach, Florida State don't kick to them.
Why we
Well, we have the crunch bunch. All right. We got in the game, first punt, he caught the punt, stood there for a second. First guy screaming at him. Bam! Dude fall on the ground. Zip right through it, touchdown. I looked over at the coach.
the crunch bunch.
The crunch bunch just got dead. So we get another punt situation, as we had many in that game because we didn't do anything on offense. He punted the ball to him again. Straight down the middle. Bam! They pulled him, I swear he scored, but they pulled him down at the 1. Otherwise, he would have had 2 punt return touchdowns on us.
Right.
In 2 punts. And I just walked away. I didn't even look at the coach that time. I just walked off. I'm like, man, there's people in the stands, and this dude going crazy because you trying to go to the Hall of Fame as
Where was Kevin Williams from?
Texas.
Texas.
Dallas, Texas.
You know what that remind me of? Night before I went to the Marine Corps, Colorado played Notre Dame. And Colorado coach.
Oh, in the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, was saying how they gonna punt to the Rocket,
Man.
and they was not gonna kick the ball away from the Rocket.
Lost them the game.
No, they called it back, right?
Yeah, they did.
So if you can go watch it on YouTube, they setting up the kick. Minutes left, and the Notre Dame losing. Rocket comes out on the field, and they're talking about it. Hey, coach said he's gonna punt to him. Rocket looks to the sideline. He goes just like this. Catch that thing, man, and run that thing all the way back for the game. This is the night before I went to the Marine Corps. I'll never forget that. And they called it back. They said it was some holding. It was it's right on YouTube. But it's an amazing play, fool. And it's all a coach saying, not coaching, that's kind of being...
Ego.
Yes,
take
ego, right.
It happens. It happens
Right.
as a coach.
Right. So how was your career at University of Miami? Did you...
Highs and lows, one of the biggest mistakes I think I made was when I got there, I wasn't fully ready, let me say.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't really a position there for me. I was behind Ryan McNeil, who's an All-American, great football player. I really didn't have a chance to start, you know what I mean? So I really should have pushed for a red shirt. It would have done me some good to get a red shirt and then have 2 years after that, after I'm fully acclimated.
Right.
And he's graduated for me to have a chance. So that first year was frustrating. It was pleasing from the sense that I'm at the University of Miami, we're having this experience, we're having a great year, we're undefeated, we go to the Sugar Bowl, but on a personal level, it was disappointing for me because I expected more of myself coming there.
Right.
And it just didn't happen for me on the field. So at that point, that was disappointing. Then the next year I come in, and I'm in a battle for the cornerback spot, which I win, and then I got hurt after the first game.
Right.
Hurt my knee, decided to then take a red shirt. And so I missed that whole 93 season. It wasn't a great season for us. Then I came back in the 94 season. I was a starter for all the games. So that was the great part of my time there. I enjoyed the entire experience, but on the field-wise, my senior year was, once again, like in high school, it came down to my senior year, and I had a really good senior year. Yeah.
That Sugar Bowl game, that was what?
That was 92,
favorite, right? That was Alabama?
I was just about to ask you.
That was the big.
Oh, we were a big favorite.
Could you please tell us the story about the game with Alabama? Because in the rest of the country, man, not even just saying Miami, the rest of the country, we just say, well, yeah, I'm just finna go and mollywop.
Yeah. I just thought they were gonna come back. Like every time Alabama would score, I thought, oh man, it'd be better in the second half.
Man, listen, to be honest with you, the way you thought and the fans thought was probably how we thought. You had a team that won a championship the year before. Your head is big. You go into a game against a team that you didn't think would be the one to get there. If memory serves, Florida and Alabama played for the SEC championship. Florida was the favorite. If Florida had won that game, man, we would have been prepared mentally, physically, every kind of way for a game against Florida.
Right.
Alabama made it. There was nothing really to Alabama. It's just kind of like what they have now. Quarterback's not really that big of a deal. Jay Barker, he just a dude. There was nothing spectacular about Alabama back then. You know, it wasn't the Nick Saban years.
Right.
And they somehow beat Florida. They get to the game. So we were like, oh, okay, we're going to dominate these boys. So it was we practiced, but it was
They did have a great defense, though.
They did.
I think they had the number one defense in the nation that year, something like
They
that.
did, but it wasn't known like that. It was like low key.
Back then, the SEC was not what it was today.
No. SEC always been a tough conference, but not as dominant as talked about as it is today. So we didn't really respect Alabama, to be honest. So we actually met up with them in the street, in Bourbon Street during that week. There was a whole face-off right there on Bourbon Street, and I think Lamar blew some cigar smoke in the dude's face. So it was a little karma of what happened to him in the game. But anyway, we gonna play them. To be honest, man, we really lost that game during the year. If I could kind of piece this together for you, Arizona had a defense called the Desert Storm, and we played them during the year, and we almost lost the game. It was an 8-7, I think, was the final, and they were doing something to us on defense. They found a way to attack the kind of offense that we had because, Erickson brought that spread to the University of Miami. And it was kind of unique at the time in college football. And they found a way with what they do defensively to attack us and slow down our offense. Mm-hmm. And I'm for sure Alabama looked at that and said, this is the way to stop it. We had the guys to do that. They had two, I want to say, first-round defensive ends.
Yeah, both of them went to the NFL.
Yeah. The secondary could play man-to-man, at least long enough for those guys to rush. And that's what they did all night. They brought the rush. We weren't able to protect Gino. Those guys could stay in coverage long enough, so he threw a bunch of interceptions in the game. We had turnovers. It was just difficult to win. And then they were rough offensively. They could run the ball well, and they just kept coming at us. They kept getting possessions. So it was tough, and we ended up losing the game, man. I had to drive back home, kept seeing the roll tide. I mean, the hate for Alabama really started then. As cars just going by, they painted up, and man. So
the running back was who? Derrick Lassic. He would score the touchdowns and do the good dance.
I can still see it now. I can see that, and I can see them running in with the touchdowns and high stepping, and then the whole thing that happened with Lamar. It was just the whole night was tragic. I want to say 34-13.
34-13?
It was a bad score.
So it's just a constipation of a game to watch. Lamar Thomas gets loose, right?
Yeah.
But it's like a
He
bomb.
breaks. It was a bomb, probably like a 30-some yard bomb. He jumps, catch the ball. I think the quarterback falls or something like that. Something like that. So
and he just ran.
He's gone.
He ran down.
I mean, Lamar wasn't slow.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what got into George Teague.
Right.
I don't know what pre-workout he took, whatever pre-game meal, but he came like a shot out of a cannon. And it just goes to show how determined they were to beat us that night.
Right.
I don't know what their little pre-game speech was or what they told them during the week, but they were hell-bent on beating us, and he just came out of nowhere.
I think that play got him drafted.
I want to say, if a play could get a guy drafted. And Lamar got the ball in the wrong hand, and dude reached in there, ripped it out, and turned around and started running the other way.
He took the ball out of his
Took it back, and then turned around and started running the ball.
That's when I knew it was over. I was like, oh no, this ain't the night.
Yeah, man. When stuff like that starts happening.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I knew it was over then. And so y'all lose that game. And so what happens after that? You were what at the time?
That was my first year there.
Yeah.
So on the field of junior. We just lick our wounds. A bunch of those dudes went to the pros, and that was part of it too.
Right.
These guys are all going to be professionals. They had outstanding careers to a certain degree. You're trying to protect that. You see it nowadays, and who could falter? So all three linebackers went to the pros.
Right.
The train.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Darren Smith.
Barrow, Smith, and Armstead.
Yeah. Let's back up a little bit. A little wisdom here. So y'all thought y'all were going to play Florida. Then you get Alabama.
Yes.
Alabama coming in looking at, man, these last year national champions.
Mm-hmm.
This happens in bowl games a lot.
What?
And then when it happens, people say, nah, y'all just making an excuse. We beat y'all.
Man, I'm so glad you said that.
Right. So the mental, whose job is it to get y'all ready in that point when they know, oh man, Florida not coming and these motherfuckers ain't going to get up for Alabama? Whose job is it to get
I mean, the job falls on both the players and the coaches. You know, when you are an elite coach, I don't want to take anything away from Dennis Erickson, outstanding, great coach.
Right.
I think when you're an elite, one of the top 1 or 2 guys, you find a way to make that happen. But that's even happened to Nick Saban when they played Oklahoma that one year.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens.
Because people don't understand, y'all are kids. See, we look at college players like they're adults, like
Yeah.
it's their pros.
Right.
This is 60, 80 kids looking at, man, I don't want to play against Alabama.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And they're kids. They're not adults. It's not professional.
Yeah. And it wasn't even really so much that. The next year was that, and I can tell you about that. But it wasn't that we didn't want to play Alabama. It's like, all right, they won, fluke. We're gonna run through these guys.
Right,
you know,
right,
there's nothing to them.
Right.
You know, Florida had that offense, and they were known. Steve Spurrier,
Yeah.
they had the fanfare. Like,
And it's a rivalry. It's like
It's
you're always
exactly.
going to get up
Yeah.
for Florida.
It's their
Florida
rivalry,
State.
so it's
course.
like it's
we'd have been out of our minds.
Oh
you know?
man, we
Right.
playing Florida for national championship. We can't lose. You know what I'm saying? It's that.
Right.
We playing Alabama. Man, it
Right.
ain't.
So you say it's on the coaches and it's on the players, the leaders of the team, maybe.
Yes.
The leaders
Yeah.
to get everything.
Yeah.
But they're probably thinking about.
The league.
Yeah.
Yeah, the league.
It's a
we just gonna
bowl
go ahead and
games are
run through
weird
this
dynamic,
Alabama.
man.
Yeah, we're gonna run through this Alabama team, and we're gonna all go get paid, and we'll be back-to-back champions, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
And you know, in all honesty, it was kind of a new position for Dennis Erickson to be in. You know, to be back-to-back
Right.
champions potentially, and then you playing against someone that you didn't expect to play. So it was new for him too. So. You know, it was a good coming together of things for Alabama, and then you know during the week there's all the disrespect that you get too. No, ain't no one talking about Alabama. They just keep talking about Miami, talking about Miami,
powerhouse,
and Alabama.
yeah.
Alabama like, man, well, are we playing in this game? So by the time that thing kicked off, they were lit.
Yeah.
So fast forward to 2021. UM kicks off the season with
Alabama. Yeah.
I said this and people laugh, and I say, man, this might be that situation where, and I might be wrong. Alabama looking at, okay, well, this is the same UM team that keep getting beat out by Clemson, and
Right.
they might overlook it.
We would hope.
I mean, yeah, we hope.
But Nick has such
Yeah,
he
Nick,
has
yeah.
such a machine going
Yeah, Nick got
right
it.
now. Yeah.
God help us.
Yeah, God help a kid that overlooked Miami if you play for Alabama. Your meal card might not work the next week.
Right. So y'all get Alabama first the next year.
Alabama is the start September 4th, first game of the season. Like you say, Nick got a machine that just clicking at its highest level we've ever seen. UM just lost the bowl game. Just got North Carolina scored again. The 2 running backs gonna get drafted in the first round.
Got a weird situation.
So how do you now, as a coach, how do you get, like, okay, we play in Alabama, how do you get focused on that? Like, yeah, we play in Alabama. We got a chance. We gonna win. Or, hey, go give it your best shot, guys. I mean, but you play, you coach. That's the mental, the mindset of a kid saying, well, yeah, we playing in Alabama. They just won a national championship.
Right.
You got a shot?
Oh yeah, you got a shot. I think for all those guys, it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, this is an opportunity.
You
This
always
is-
look at it that way.
Yeah, this is a chance for us to. Yeah, these guys did just win the national championship. Now, a good bunch of those guys, and the best part of that team from last year is now gone. Maybe we catch them slipping. And you know what? Miami can go out and beat Alabama, and catapult the program.
Right.
Because all these local kids down here who
Right.
seem to get filtered out of state might start saying, oh, okay, you know, maybe this is the turnaround. And you catch a couple of kids, and it only takes a couple to come,
Right.
then a couple more to come, and then, you know, you got a little train going. So
Yeah.
Right. So the next year y'all face Alabama.
we didn't. In '93, we didn't face them.
Okay, no. Okay.
We didn't face them in '93. What
Right.
I was saying in the reference to the next year was we went and played a bowl game against Arizona.
Yeah.
And we had lost 2 games during the season, so we weren't playing for a national championship. So we didn't really care about that bowl game. Man, if you could have called me on Tuesday, I'd have told you we're not winning this game. I could have went to Vegas on Tuesday. Put all this right here on Arizona. We just did not care, man. We just let's just
Arizona, you remember the game? I'm trying to
Yeah,
think.
Arizona State.
What
Yeah,
bowl
yeah,
game
yeah.
was it?
Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Anything bad ever happened to us happened in the Fiesta Bowl.
That's the
Arizona.
one. That wasn't the one. That wasn't the one where y'all you got all the penalties that game.
No.
That was the Texas one.
Yeah, we actually won that. We actually won that.
Yeah,
one.
won that game.
That's when they were like, man, y'all need to shut the program down, man.
Man, could you believe it?
Oh man, like,
That brought probably a lot of recruits to this school. Like, man, they're having fun. Forget about those penalties.
Was the game close?
Against Arizona?
Yeah.
No. It was 22-0. And it looked worse than that. We could do nothing. They had that defense, like I told you. Their defense was tailor-made for our offense. On top of the fact that we didn't really feel like playing the game. So we couldn't do anything offensively, and they dominated.
You coach now. Give me a quick synopsis of what they were doing to stop one of the most powerful offenses. What were they doing?
We had a spread offense.
Yeah.
So that means you sending out 4 wide receivers. At times you're trying to send out 5 guys. You send them back out 2. So that only leaves you 5 offensive linemen to block whatever's coming.
Right.
So they had a little very exotic blitzes that they would bring. They were very good up front on the defensive line.
Yeah.
So they're basically bringing more pressure to that quarterback than really he could handle. So you got to get the ball out quick. So if you've got guys in your secondary that can cover, Nebraska had tried it in the 91 Orange Bowl, and it didn't work because they just couldn't cover.
Right.
But they had guys that could cover, and they brought the blitzes. They would always get a man free. They hit the quarterback, so it was just difficult to operate.
Gotcha.
Offensively the way you want it. You couldn't just find the receivers. You're sending out 4 guys, but you really only can hit one before you get hit.
Right.
And so that was a recipe.
Gotcha. So you got to be good up front. You had to be good up front.
Yeah, or you got to find other ways to protect your quarterback, or you got to have a quick passing game, which is a part of offenses now. Our quick passing game was to just lob one up to our more athletic wide receivers.
Tight ends, yeah.
Nowadays they have hot reads. You can take it and hit a guy on a slant or a little quick out or bubble screens, which wasn't a part of anyone's offense, and stuff like that. So that just wasn't a part of offense then.
Gotcha. So you had a chance to go to the league, or?
I did. I went to the Seahawks.
Yeah.
I was there for a year, and that was it for me.
Was it everything you dreamed of?
No.
No.
It was a very political machine.
Yeah.
Not always based on what you thought it should be based on. Not making any excuses. At the end of the day, I didn't do enough to remain on a roster and play any amount of years. But it was just a little deflating to see how things were done.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some things that go on there, and you're like, this is how it is. So I got too caught up in that, and should have been a little more wrapped up in, me doing what I need to do and playing the game to, last on a roster and put myself in a position to have an NFL career. So.
Gotcha. All right, so let's get into this. You train DBs. You got Gridiron Studs. Tell people what Gridiron Studs is.
Gridiron Studs is it's a website and now an app where high school football prospects could go on, create a profile. You put all the information that you need on there to get recruited. That's your highlight video, your height, your weight room numbers, your track numbers if you got them, images, everything that a school would need to know about you to get recruited. So you go in there, create a profile, and college coaches use it. They go through and they could use the filters to find prospects all over the country. They could search by any number of different factors, whether it's 40 times state, city, class, GPA. So they go through, find prospects, and it's kind of like, I call it like CarMax.com, but for recruiting. So from the comfort of their facility or whatever, you can go through and find players in different areas and kind of set up your recruiting. These are the kids we want to go see, or at least call to the school and find out about a player that you saw on this app. So that's really what Gridiron does.
So is it just that platform, or do you personally talk to college coaches? Like, do you personally have relationships with them?
Obviously, through being a high school football coach, both of my kids going through the process and being heavily recruited, I've developed these relationships over the years. So I do talk to them if I see a player on there that might be the kind of kid that they would recruit or someone they should be interested in.
But behind the scenes?
Yeah, behind the scenes. So I tell them, hey, you might want to check this kid out. I can actually do it in the app. I can actually take a kid's profile and send it to a coach within the app.
That's neat.
Yeah. Is there a service that they can actually like go to platinum service and get access to you or anybody, and you actually work for them, or you actually
for the coaches?
For the kids.
No. I've
So,
listen. When you start putting money into it, you create a barrier.
Yeah.
For certain kids. You know, if a kid can't afford it, he's super talented, but he can't afford it, then that kid doesn't get the exposure because he can't pay the fee.
Right.
So I've left it free for them.
Gotcha.
I've left it free for the coaches because when you start asking the schools to pay, you create a barrier there as well.
Right.
Because then now I would only be pushing the schools that are paying me. So if a kid really belongs at the University of Georgia, but they don't pay me, kid don't get access to Georgia. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's free for both of those entities. The part where there's a subscription is for the fans, because those players are giving out information as to who's recruiting them, where they're being recruited, their feelings
So
about
the
recruiting.
fans can subscribe.
The fans subscribe.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you know they get access to that information, how the kids feel, what's going on in their recruitment, and so that's where the revenue is
Right.
generated from. The fans getting to see what the kids are thinking about in terms of recruiting. Are they coming to their favorite school and,
Right.
and that end of it? So
Okay.
through years of doing this, I found that to be the best way to go.
Right. So listen, when Marco threw that shoe, did you know that was a penalty?
I did not, but I suspected it might be something. You know, because I'm sitting right on that side. The play happened on our sideline.
Right.
Now, listen, I played at the University of Miami. If my teammates are being honest, if the fans from that time are being honest, listen, any one of us would have probably thrown that shoe.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
It was a normal play to me. I felt like, you in the heat of the moment, you see somebody shoot, hey man, get that shoe out of here.
Yo, here's your shoe. You and the shoe get off the field. Third down,
Right.
we stopped you.
It was set up. It's third down.
It's
Y'all-
third down. Look, first of all, it's a game going back and forth that shouldn't have happened like that. LSU was not good this year. They've been beaten up by a number of teams. They're coming to play Florida, who's having a tremendous year.
Mm-hmm.
The game shouldn't be like this. You're playing in the swamp. Shouldn't be that kind of game.
Right.
Lo and behold, it is. It's back and forth, and you're getting annoyed and irritated by that. On top of that, man, LSU had a pick six, and the kid hit a peace sign and high-stepped it into the end zone. Nothing. They didn't call any kind of penalty on that kid. So you get to this point, it's heated rivals too. They throw a pass on third down. Comes up, makes a tackle, stops him short of the first down. As fate would have it,
Right.
shoe comes off in the tackle in his hand. Now, you ain't be like, hey buddy, here's your shoe. Man.
Never, not in football.
Good luck for you guys. Nah, bro, I
Right.
tackled you. Get off. I told him you threw the shoe in the wrong direction. The throwing it to the stands, maybe no one would have seen it. It wouldn't have been that big of a deal, but he threw it and the shoe damn near hit a ref.
That's
So-
where the flag came out.
Yeah, you threw it right in
That's
the
the
direction
ref,
of the ref. I saw the shoe fly, I knew he threw it, and I was like,
So you saw all of it.
oh, I was right there. It was on the sideline.
You see how life works? Like you could have been doing it, looking down there, but when something like that happened, you looking right at it. You
Man,
see the
so much faith. And it's Coach Ogeron, who was at the University of Miami while I was there, and he caught this big break from my son. So he threw the shoe, and I was like, the way it flew out, it was like, did they see that? And at the moment I thought that however many refs are on the field threw their flags. Just flew in there all at once. I was like,
and they called what?
unsportsmanlike conduct, delay of game,
Gave him a
whatever
first
the
down.
15-yard penalty.
So
They still hadn't made enough yards to kick the field goal.
Uh-huh.
They made a few more yards after that, got within field goal range, 57 yards out with fog, if you remember. Like, he ain't got no business hitting that
Foggy
field goal.
game, yeah.
None.
Oh my God.
So they line up for this field goal. I'm like, man, we good. He ain't gonna make that. Boom. Now, first of all, ball flies into the fog, so you don't know. So you just looking down at the refs. I was like, you got to be kidding me. I couldn't believe it. And then Florida got the ball back. People don't remember that. Florida got the ball back, drove down the field within range. Their kicker could kick that far. Boom. All right, he got this. He could kick this. Boom. Kick it again in the fog. You looking down.
And he missed.
And I'm just thinking, did this just happen?
Yeah.
Did this just happen
Their
to
life-
Did this just happen to him? So it was terrible.
That's none of that after him throwing that shoe. People remember.
Oh no.
They're just gonna
He is
remember
the shoe thrower.
The shoe.
They will
Yeah,
forget
they-
everything else in his career.
Marco lost his game. They're gonna remember him throwing that shoe,
Yeah.
and you just did two series where one made a 57-yard field goal, and the other one missed a field goal.
Yeah.
But the memory of that game, just like the Willis McGahee pass, you remember Willis McGahee catching that pass. You don't remember who scored the touchdown.
Oh man, you know what? Like Lamar called me
He did.
because he lived that life. Lamar Thomas called me and be like, "Hey, listen, man, tell him this, that, because he had the ball ripped out of his hand. We talked about it. You know how much great stuff Lamar had? Lamar left with a bunch of records.
Yeah.
He's remembered
That play.
unfairly
Yeah,
for that play. And so,
Right.
you know, I fear that's the same thing that's going to happen for Marco, but it is what it is. You know, life moves on.
He called you and said what?
Listen, tell him, man,
Mark
keep
did
his
that on a
head
different stage, though.
Yeah. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
Keep his head up, man. Don't worry about it. It doesn't define, you know, a lot of supportive things, which is great to hear from your teammate, you know, when he sees your son has gone through something.
Right.
Plus, you know, they try to recruit Marco because, you know, Lamar was at Kentucky and Louisville, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So he's familiar with him. Got a lot of respect and love for him and for me as a teammate, an ex-teammate. And so just provided words of encouragement for me to pass on to Marco. But he's cool now. He's over it.
He's over it?
Yeah, he's over it. He's moving on.
Man,
He's
about
resilient.
About to get drafted, man. He can't care about
He's
the
resilient,
Super
man.
Eight.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No.
Done.
In that moment, knowing your son Marco, because you tell me him and Quincy aren't the same. Like, they're kind of
In some ways, yes, but in a lot of ways, no.
Were you concerned about him? Or
Oh,
yeah.
I felt so terrible for him.
Yeah.
You know, that this had happened. There'd been a couple of things going on during the year that wasn't great. The defense didn't play great last year, you know, so, you know, they get attacked because we got this social media thing now.
Oh, yeah, man.
So, every pass caught, you suck as a DB. So you've been going through all that.
All right, man. We appreciate you coming.
Yeah, man. It's a long time coming, man. We've been talking about this, so.
Now I'm going to get in Marco and Quincy D, man. See if I can get them swing by one day.
Maybe you can.
Start
Give it
rapping,
a
man.
shot.
I saw him the other day. I was walking down the street and he stopped me and rewind back. Hey, man, you need a ride? I was like, nah, man, I'm old and fat. I'm exercising, bro. He's like, oh, all right. But all right, man, this is Chad, man. Y'all make sure y'all like, share, go to the community section. Members, check that out, man. And shout out to the member of the week. We out. Appreciate that.